So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with people a little bit about podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you don't have a business, just think about your children and great grandchildren and relatives and how you might want to leave a legacy for them. So I'm going to go through these really quickly, just like a pictorial.
Yep, sure.
So this is a little bit about me. Emilio already gave you all the hype and the backstory about the different things I've done. And I've co-hosted with him too, which has been a pleasure. So in the 30s and 40s, we had the golden age of radio, and now we have the golden age of podcasts. And CBS Sunday News in 2019 in January talked about 200,000 podcasts were produced then, and they thought that it would double in 2020, but actually it's more than doubled. We now reach over 100 million Americans every month, and
Mm-hmm.
so it's becoming larger and larger. 75% of Americans 12 plus are listening to podcasts. This is up 70% from 2019. Wow. Huh?
Yeah.
And 37% listen monthly. So when you have a podcast too, Emilio, and it's amazing. What's a podcast? It's really an electronic radio show. It's just pre-recorded. So
Mm-hmm.
you can listen on demand when you're in the shower, when you're walking. So there it is. Okay, what kind of format? Well, it's like the Wild Wild West. You can do anything. And that's what's creative about doing this. And you have that too, Emilio. You can do a 20-minute, you can do a 10-minute, you can do an hour, it can be scripted, you can have a guest. It really, it's up to you. It's not like broadcast radio that I was on for many years on WPRO, where you have to have it very, very regimented, if you will, in certain
Mm-hmm.
time segments. Okay, why do we tune in? To learn new things. And we have our smartphones and wireless earbuds. Okay, and these are all the platforms that we can be on. You can hear us on iTunes, and you talk about it. You can hear you on iHeartradio and many of these others. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
why should you have your own podcast? Well, I'm speaking to the choir with you, Emilio, but okay, it's a low barrier to entry, particularly if you do it yourself, and it can be a low cost. It's easy to access. Look at all the ways that you can hear it. Okay, people, and this I think mostly speaks for Emilio's show. People get to know, like, and trust you, Emilio, because you make that deeper connection with the audience. And it's like you share with them like a friend.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key. Okay. It drives traffic to your website, which you can attest to. It adds to your toolkit. You just don't have a podcast. You have a website, you have product sales, you do social media, I'm sure you have blogs, all of that. Okay. It expands your network. Look at all the people you've met, Emilio, since doing the show from all over the country. That's
Yeah.
what this does. I'm using you as an example because you know what this is. Okay. But also you can have creative freedom. And Emilio, you have that. You decide on your timing and your content and your pacing. Should I have a guest today? Should I just tell my own story? Did I have a great real estate story? Should I share that? So again, it gives you that freedom. Nobody's telling you, well, Emilio, here's what you have to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, income potential. Podcasts, in the beginning, you're really doing it for the know, like, and trust factor.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, you can certainly build income. But like in Emilio's case, where he has a real estate business, he's going to get clients through this. But if you want to get clients just for your show, it's going to take time and affiliations, crowdfunding, and building up your audience. Numbers count. All right, so how do you build your audience? Content is king. You have to find a hook. Now, the hook in Emilio's case is he talks not just about real estate, but anything that affects your purchase of a house, any lifestyle issue. And that's really a hook. Okay, what's unique about him? Well, his personality, he's fun. There's a whole different thing about you listen to him because of his particular style. There are a lot of other people that have shows on real estate, but he has his own particular style. I'm using you as an example, Emilio, on purpose so people can see this.
Yeah.
And plus it's fun.
Thank you.
Plus it's fun. Okay, target your market. Now, Emilio's a great example of that, right? He is going to target to people that want to hear him. Right? If somebody isn't interested in real estate at all, I'm not sure that's his client. If they're just never going to be in the market. So he's going to find those, and there are millions of people who are in the market, as you know. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Next, communication, very important. And there are different theories around this, but one is that body language is 55%, word and tones are 38%, and words are 7%. So if I don't see you, Emilio, I only have your voice and tone and words. So you have to make it up with inflection and tone and how you speak and your pacing and your interesting guests. If I can see you, now I have the other half of my communication. Tell story, story, story. You do that all the time. You get stories from your guests. You tell stories about things that have happened with you. That's what makes it interesting. And bring on guest experts, which you do. Okay. Now, this is all well and good. But Emilio, if you just took this show and then said, okay, bye, and went home and sat in a chair, nothing would happen. You have to promote your show. And this is something that he does that you have to do if you want a podcast. You have to promote it online through all of these social media platforms, do video demos, which Emilio's done for a long time, give presentations, talk to people, do webinars, and find that client that wants what you want to give them. If you do that, you don't have to sell. You create a win-win. This is for the do-it-yourselfers. Emilio, you're not a do-it-yourselfer. I'm not either. We're too busy. You're too busy selling real estate to sit here and technically do your own show. You have people help you, which is, what I do. So if you want to, there's a man by the name of John Lee Dumas, and he has a book called The Ultimate Guide to Podcasting. So if you want to do this all by yourself, you can read that book. You can come to people like me who will help you, but certainly you can do it yourself. You can go to, this is brand new with Google Podcast Managers. It's a new service, so you can analyze your data on your show. You may want to use this too. This is
what is
new. Yeah, it's Google Podcast Manager, and it's a new service. It allows podcasters to analyze their data and distribute their shows. Google Podcast Manager. All right?
Thank you.
You're welcome. If you wanted to do your own show, now, again, Emilio's using iHeartradio and he's using other platforms, but you could go to Anchor and they will create it, distribute it, and help you with it. So that's another good one.
Yes.
That's one, if you want to do it by yourself. You can also sell it by the pound, by the show. So what you would do by the show is you would go to Breaker Upstream and they set up a whole pricing schedule. So you may want to charge $1, $2, $5, and that's up to you. Okay, this is me. You can go here to my podcast productions. This is my I have 2 brand new websites, produceapodcast.com, where I show you what I do. Or if you already have one and you want to improve it, improvemypodcast.com. These are all of my resources. And let me just share with you what I do in produceapodcast.com is I actually help you come up with content, title, we rehearse, we come up with everything that will make this into a great product. And then we record it, usually on Zoom, so that you can also do the video if you want. And you can have the video when we upload it on YouTube. I do have people who help me. So I'll take it after we record it. I'll send it to tech people. And the technical people will then put music. They'll put the tags on. They'll put it on iHeartradio, on iTunes, and on YouTube. And if you already have a podcast and you want to improve it, then I will coach you. I will listen and give you ideas. And so that's what I do. And I love doing this work. It's my passion to help people get their message out. That's why I wear the bumblebee, right? Because the bumblebee pollinates around there and pulls the pollen out of the flower and goes poof. And that's what I do.